Hello, everyone. This is Reverend Squatch, and according to my wife, I am the world's strongest and nerdiest preacher. What do you think? Let's get into the video. This is part 4 of the 5, possibly more, installment series. If this actually gets some feedback and, I get enough likes, I'll make more parts if you guys actually enjoy this. But for right now, I'm going to leave it at 5 parts. It's going to be once a month. It's going to be on the last Friday of each month. So keep an eye out for it. But here's the 4th installment of things I'm just going to randomly add to the Marvel Comics 616 universe. Stargates. And the Stargate community as a whole. This brings in the Ancients. And it brings in many, many more planets with life. Yeah, there's quite a few planets that already have life in the Marvel Comics universe, but this increases it vastly. Galactus is still an issue, but let's just say he hasn't affected any of these planets. He doesn't have to do that often, really. Well, how does this affect everything? The Stargate thing is still created, the Stargate program, but it is a subsidiary program now of Shield and Monarch. All three of these are working together. And the Goa'uld aren't quite as effective because instead of just the people from the Stargate team going, individuals like Black Widow or Hawkeye who work with S.H.I.E.L.D. before go, as well as metahumans. Metahumans that have worked with S.H.I.E.L.D., like the Avengers, sometimes they'll go if a little more force is needed. Earth has 2 Stargates, of course, now. In fact, I think there were 3. But I'm going to increase this number. Because of the activity on this Earth and how it's different, there is 1 Stargate per continent, bare minimum. So you've got 1 in Africa, which winds up being in Wakanda. You have 1 in Asia, which ends up being in Russia, the Russian Stargate. 1 in Antarctica, which ends up being in the Savage Lands, under the control of Mr. Sinister. So that's a change right here. They don't have control of the Antarctic Stargate like they did before. They have to work with Mr. Sinister if they wish to use it. How that changes things, I don't know. Well, you have 1 in Australia. Nothing really big goes on in Australia in Marvel Comics, so just put it wherever, somewhere in the outback. And let's make it the equivalent of the Antarctic Stargate. So the Stargate program really runs it like they did the Antarctic one. Well, there's 1 in South America too. It's in the ancient Incan temples. and one in Europe, directly below Stonehenge, about half a mile or so. But what they don't know is there's also one inside of the Hollow Earth, inside of the Kong Temple. You see, Kong didn't understand what that was, and he has nothing to do with it, and he doesn't bother the humans when they build things or they do things. It's just, that's people doing what people do. I'm not going to bother them if they don't bother me. They're here, I'll keep them safe. I won't let anybody bother them, but they're not bugging me either. So they make a base there. Monarch does. Another place there's a stargate is in Mu. You see, the ancient Mu, the Atlanteans, were actually the ancients. And that city they've been rebuilding is one of their city ships. Just like Atlantis in Stargate Atlantis. And they've run across a couple of strange creatures in isolation chambers that seems like they were kept for study. The Wraith are on Earth. Now, there's only 10 of them, but that could be dangerous. That's enough to get a pretty strong signal out. Here's the deal, though. There's enough strong telepaths on Earth, especially Charles Xavier. He could stop that signal. And not only stop it, the moment he senses it, but he'll know what they're trying to do. And the Wraith are captured. Namor takes them down actually fairly easily. But, they probably take down a few Atlanteans. Here's my question for you guys. Do you think that the Wraith would gain enhanced physical strength beyond their normal by absorbing the power of an Atlantean? Let me know what you think, and comment below and tell me. I'm interested to know what your thoughts are. Now, more things that are added into this are the Goa'uld would have worked with Apocalypse back in the day because they couldn't have taken him as a host. So instead of ruling alone, the Goa'uld would have been subsidiaries and followers of Apocalypse. And the Goa'uld might have been more of an issue when Apocalypse returns in 616. Now, the Asgard are still helping the humans, but Reed Richards is actually able to fix their problems with their genetics and ends up bringing their form back to what they once were. Now, their intelligence is just as enhanced as it always was, but now they're capable of actually breeding and sustaining a population the natural and normal way. They still have enhanced lifespans of several thousand years. But now, for the first time in 10,000 years, there are baby Asgard. The replicators are also not much of an issue. Tony Stark figures out how to get rid of them, and they're no longer an issue either. But this one did cause some really big changes into Marvel Comics. It's starting to stack and kind of flesh out a new world. Something different, not necessarily better, but different. What are your thoughts? Let me know.